Hey, I'm Decathlon Gamer, and welcome back to Out of the Park Baseball 25, episode 15. As we've entered our second season, we're only one game into the season, but we are going to start going much, much faster with things. As I previously noted in the last episode, the first two phases for rebuilding the minor league system are essentially done. There might be the occasional phase B kind of move in the future as we acquire numbers and continue on that. It's still a path towards building, but we're going to be getting into that phase C area where we're really starting to get after top prospects. But more importantly, the initial rebuild on the major league club on the senior squad side has really taken off. But we're not done for this year yet. I'll come back to the we're not done part, but here's just how much better we are. A year ago when we started this thing, there was two-star talent up and down, especially with the batters. Pitching staff had a decent amount of 2.5-star talent. But the batters, like there was one guy, it was all 2 stars. There was some 1.5-star, I want to say, a little bit. But anyway, right now, ultimately, it was about half of the Major League squad was 2.5-star. Half was 2-star. If you look at our AAA roster right now, 2.5-star. Half 2-star. Our AAA roster right now looks like it would be competitive with last year's opening day senior squad roster. That's how much better we are right now than we were a year ago. But the one key move that I'm looking at going, we need to make this happen, especially when we have goals and objectives from the ownership, and one of those goals was to upgrade second position. And it was a goal they wanted to complete this year, not last year. Last year we completed it. It's this year they want it done by. And so Geloff, 3 stars, has moved from second base to third base. He's a second baseman. He's playing out of position. It's Rengifo who's playing at second base right now. Really shouldn't be, and somehow is in that starting lineup, which is a weird thing. I think Geloff's a second baseman naturally, and Rengifo's a third baseman naturally. Why they've swapped, I don't know. I don't understand. Rengifo's somebody we want to move on from anyway, but he's got a relatively negative contract. He's not going to be an easy move, but if I can move him, a spot that it frees up, we already have an in-house replacement in Kevin Biggio. And in Biggio, are we talking about? He's been at Toronto. I'm pretty sure this is like son of Craig, right? Gotta be. Anyway, he's 29 now, and he's got great eye, good contact. He'll put up decent numbers, and he's a better defender certainly than Rengifo is. So I'd like to clear some room for Biggio, who's not on the 40-man. We have plenty of space there, 5 spots anyway, but Rengifo's got to go. Right now, though, that contract is not one we want to sit on. We want to find a way to get him involved in a trade package. He'll be a corner piece of that trade package. We don't need a here and now player back. This is in that hunt for prospects, and of course, the rookie levels can be where we draw these guys from, because we've got a draft coming that will replenish these 2 rookie squads. It's the A-ball and above that have a season that is about to start in the next little bit. Player development update. Trayson Kubo has some positives here, getting more velocity, better stuff, star rating improvement, and Alex McGarry has also seen an improvement. His potential contact and power ratings, his current, that's both current and potential, by the way, current eye rating and current speed rating. So improvements, hefty improvements there for the high A-ball first baseman. So the Dodgers have dropped Dustin May onto the waiver wire, and I am really tempted here. So here's the things that stand out. Just purely 3.5 stars already. I mean, That's quality. But 4.6 million, that's expensive. We'll have arbitration in the coming season, so possible free agent. But he could be a pretty good pickup. He's got a very good fastball. He's got a good slider. He's got a good sinker. He's got a good cutter. So he's got four pitches in his arsenal. His stuff is a 60, so it's quality stuff. The movements the movement's there. The control is there. The stamina, even the stamina's a 50, and he's throwing upwards of 100 miles an hour with a stamina of 50, even though they've been using him as a reliever. It's the Dodgers. It's the team with, payroll running through and through. They have depth. A guy like this gets forced into an awkward spot. For us, this guy could go right into the lineup. 50 stamina means, okay, fine, he's not going to see out 9 innings. But if you can get 6 or 7 innings out of this guy once every 5 days, he's our number 2 pitcher. His ERA the last couple of years is 2.6, 2.17, and he's still spending time at AAA, which is silly. He's starting those games at AAA. He started 9 games in 23. He started 4 games in 24. He is starter quality. He's just getting stuck in the bullpen because they have too many options. But he's got a whip under 1, excluding his time in in AAA. Positive wins above replacement. I mean, it's just extremely tempting to go after this guy. The problem being 4.6 million. Now, can he turn into trade bait for us? Does he have enough value with that kind of contract, that quality, and that kind of contract? If we give him a handful of starts at the senior level and he does well, is he suddenly going to be a sought after commodity? It's not a guy we can hang on to long term, but he's only 27. He's just on an awfully big contract already. That's not that big of a contract, of course, especially for a top 2 pitcher in your staff. I think we have to claim him. Oh, we can't afford the contract. We've got to get this Rengifo deal done in the next couple of days, and then we can afford the contract. I came close with the Yankees to making a deal, but not quite. That extra piece they wanted to push it over the line was too much of an ask. They were asking for Ruiz to get thrown in. Current free agents, yeah, lots of 2.5 star, but it's 30-something-year-olds. So I'm gonna get to work on that trade right now because I'd like to get this Dustin May deal done. I'm 2 days into the desperate hunt for a trade for Rengifo and finding, first off, that there is he's a negative contract. No one wants him except for a worse negative contract than what he has. So a package would essentially be more about giving him away and resolving the finances than anything else. And I've come close to being able to hammer out some type of deal for that, but just nothing yet. Packaging in, other prospects, weaker prospects, to get essentially nothing in return, I think would be a good trade-off. But 2 days into the process, Dustin May has been claimed by Colorado. I'm pretty sure that they were the worst record or next to worst record last. Pretty sure they have the edge on us when it comes to claim. And therefore we will probably not get Dustin May, but I've still got 1 day left, so I'm still going to try and see if I can at least dump Rengifo, even if it's for a nothing prospect in return, in which case the prospects that I'm packaging with him are weak prospects, and just taking away some of those, phase B kind of, or even phase A kind of players. If I can do that, if somebody wants him badly enough for that, I can at least free up that money for the next one that comes along. I don't know if we're going to get another Dustin May, but maybe, just maybe, we can. Well, and just like that, May is gone. I've not been able to work out a deal, even going to not just a minor prospect coming back, but bad prospects. Just trying to give him away. We can't give him away at this point, even with others packaged with him. So we are stuck with Rengifo. We may at some point need to uh, just drop him, just waive him, let him go. That contract will expire before the end of the year. We'll get stuck with it, but um, might be better than sticking with him. By the 12th of April, we are not having the start I was hoping for, just 4-9 so far. The waiver wire is empty. We're at that phase where teams are starting to settle in. I don't expect to see much on the waiver wire until the or near the end of April anyway. But the draft pool is revealed, so we'll get a look at that here in just a second. The pool is in, so we're looking at one 5-star prospect in Ethan Holiday at 18. A couple other younger, coming out of high school players. 2.5 stars or better is a pretty small group, and in terms of current overall rating, a handful at 1.5 stars is all there is, all college level players. The good news is I have invested enough in scouting that we have very high reports on the entire class already, meaning we are not going to have to worry about the difficulties. There are some expensive ones here. I'd like somebody like Dylan Adkins, who is both good and cheap. But after getting bumped from third down to seventh in the draft, we really got the short end of the stick. In fact, all of the top three got bumped down out of the top four positions. I don't know how you get a comp pick for Cleveland at number 2. They didn't sign their guy last year, apparently. But I thought supplemental is where you're supposed to get that in the first round, but the Astros also didn't sign their first round pick. Coming up on the end of April, just 9-19. A worse record than a year ago. So the team has not gelled. They have not started well. Our pitching staff, which was solid a year ago, has been poor so far this season. Mason Miller, just a 5.2 ERA and 1-3. He's supposed to be good. JP Sears, 6 for his ERA. Bryce Wilson, who we brought in, picked up off of waivers on that opening day. His ERA is almost 8. Povich is over 8. And Mitch Spence. So no one in the starting lineup has been putting up good numbers so far. And then there's our bullpen closer, Carlos Hernandez. His ERA is a 6, and he has 0 saves on the season. De Los Santos at least has some saves, but his ERA is not looking good. Colby White is doing pretty okay. 17 innings and just a 2 for his ERA. Also, Angel Felipe, our specialist, coming in at 8 innings, has a good solid 1.08 ERA. So he's only given up 1 run so far this season. But yikes. I mean, our closer with no saves. None of our starters are throwing well. In fact, we only have 2 wins from our entire starting rotation. Pitching has been terrible to start the season. Then checking in on the batters, going by wins above replacement in their order. Ruiz, Geloff are doing well. Austin Meadows is doing well in his second season here with us. That's good. That's a good start for him. He's at 270. OPS is nearly a club best. Rengifo's actually doing okay. That's good. Maybe he can drum up some interest if he plays well. Jeffers is doing all right, and Langolier. So we've definitely improved the catching situation. Denzel Clark as a rookie, okay so far. Definitely not big numbers, not happy numbers. Vientos, the young first baseman, long-term prospect for us. He's neutral right now, and that's okay. He's developing. I'm okay with that. But Tyler Nevin, struggling a bit. but it's these bottom ones. Uh, Herbito Hernandez, only 10 games. It's only 39 plate appearances, but he's hitting 125. He's very likely headed for AAA at this rate to get some more training. Nick Allen is also struggling mightily, and Marte, he's a one and done for us anyway. But as much as he's got some negative value, I think some of that is down to defense. But he's at least given us some okay numbers on offense. Certainly not as bad as those two guys around him. Turn of the month, player development update, and far enough into the season now where I think we can start to make some moves. We're 10-20 overall, not where we want to be. I mean, this has been a pretty pitiful start. Bryce Wilson, current potential movement goes up +5, but control, just potential, drops by 5. Not too bad there for Bryce Wilson. Francisco Perez has dropped off. Aniel De Los Santos, the other guy we picked up, I think with Wilson, or we signed Santos. Control ratings go up. Movement down a little bit. Marte dropping off. Age 36, I get that. Adrian Martinez improving, good. Control and stamina rating. Gosh, could he find himself in a starting lineup? Brett Harris at AAA. Good improvement there. Power, eye, and potential all going up. Zach Little, reliever, up to 3 stars. He's trying to get himself into a bigger scene, and maybe he could be moving on to AAA with that kind of stuff. Joey Estes, big improvement here at AA. Dominic Smith, not looking good. Johan Lopez, improving power and gap ratings. Garland improves overall and potential as a reliever, but none of his attributes improve, just his rating. One of our big time prospects, Juan Barrera, we lose some stuff rating, but his current stamina improves, his velocity improves. Going from an 80 to a 75 with improvements otherwise, sees his potential drop by a full star. It's one of the guys we picked up, and that's one of the problems with young prospects. You see wild, drastic changes in a short amount of time once you get them into a system. I've seen a lot of that here. Quintana, somebody we just recently picked up, he's dropped by a half star. Strauss Snyder drops by a half star. Right now we're looking at starters, free agents, 2 stars, and young. I've just offered out to about 18 starters and 16 fielders in the same scenario, 1 2.5 star prospect. Some of the scouting is not great, but overall looking to add about 30 something, which is an easy 4 deals to flip those for better prospects, or flip some of our other guys for better prospects somewhere in the mix, but definitely add some phase B capital to try to get us 3 to 4 better prospects. While our record is definitely not the start we would hope for, it's not that bad. The 50-win season of 2 years ago, the last year for the real life team, we're still better than that. And as for last year's 59-win season, we're close to that right now at 10-20, and it's only a month into the season. There's a lot of time, especially that pitching staff of ours. They're so much better than how they have performed so far on the season. They're bound to pick it up here at some stage and help us out. Nick Allen is a pretty decent defensive option for us, but the batting's just not there. It's hitting 137. It's not getting any better as we continue on to a day that just existed a little bit ago. May the 4th be with you. Nick Allen has been demoted to AAA for the time being. I was planning on bringing up Biggio, but Biggio's been poor. He's having a really rough start to his AAA season. So instead we brought up somebody who's been doing very well so far on the season. Luis Urias, who was at Seattle. last year. Boston the year before has that major league experience, is actually making that bit of a salary here. 1.7 is what he's making after getting that call up. But he's balanced. He's got quality. He can play second or third, and is defensively decent. He's hitting 382 to start the season with an OPS of 1.16, wins above replacement 1.6. He's absolutely tearing it up at AAA level. So he's on fire. We're going to give him a chance. But that also means we are without a shortstop for the time being, so players will get shuffled. He is not a great shortstop prospect, but could end up being the one that's picked to go there. There are a couple other candidates in that infield, so we'll see what the manager does to shuffle things around. But if he moves Rengifo over to shortstop and has Urias at second, I think we might actually be back on track for that upgrade second base scenario. And he has. Rengifo has moved to shortstop. Geloff is at third. Urias at second. Vientos has actually been bumped to the bench for the time being, as Tyler Nevin apparently is outplaying him. Vientos was definitely struggling a bit, and tough day for him, but we are 100% keeping him on the roster even if he struggles. We do not want to send him down to AAA. We want him to get that opportunity to develop. But Rengifo back at 2.5 stars with the move to shortstop. He's better in that position. The lineup as a whole looking a little bit stronger with a couple of those moves. And offensively, we're definitely doing better. Now 13 and 22. Win percentage coming up a little bit here with about a week of play since that last check-in. Let's look at the standings for the first time to see how the league is looking, starting in the National League. Atlanta, of course, is looking strong, but the Reds, 26 and 9, really strong. The Rockies are 23 and 13. The pickups they've had have, what a turnaround from a year ago, right? From worst record to 23 and 13. Giants are struggling. Pirates are struggling. Marlins and Mets are all struggling. In the AL, Yankees predicted to do poorly. Their stats suggest they're doing poorly, but somehow they are still above 500. Tampa Bay is struggling. The White Sox and the Royals are struggling, where the Twins are leading the Central right now. It's Seattle on top of the AL West. Go Mariners. Houston, Angels all doing okay. The Rangers all above 500. And yeah, there we are again with a different look from a year ago. Offensively, we have improved. We went from 28th, 29th in like everything a year ago. Runs tied for 16th, average is 21st. Home runs is still weak, but it's not dead last. And then the pitching is suddenly off, where pitching last year was about 18th to 20th, something like that, maybe 21st. ERA is dead last. Defensive efficiency is 24th, and Ks is 21st, but that ERA part is really hurting us. If we can get that up to where it was a year ago, our pitching staff is very similar to what it was in terms of quality last year. It should not be suffering like this. We made improvements to the offense. We did not hurt the defense, but right now the defense is hurting. Nice. We just got a gold achievement going streaking. 49 consecutive stolen bases by Ruiz. Sprained wrist for Denzel Clark. We'll see him going onto the injured list. He'll be out for a while with this one. 4 weeks. We'll put him on the 10-day. J.P. Crawford is now 8 weeks from coming back from his broken hand. Austin Meadows also is 2 to 3 weeks with shoulder tendonitis. Sean Newcomb, who just came back from injury, has an elbow strain. He's on 1 week for that day-to-day. This Austin Meadows one might... We had 4 outfielders. All of a sudden we have 3. I might have to at least fill one of these spots temporarily. And yeah, 2 to 3 weeks is... But it looks like he can play through it. Yes, Armenteros is going to get a chance at Major League level after playing all of last year. We'll get him up for the time being. Now 17 and 27. Definitely starting to play a bit better. That win percentage up to 386 from 330. something. So it's up about 50 points. Slowly but surely, the team is stabilizing, and with that overview of where we're at, Ruiz, Geloff, Meadows all doing fine. Vientos is somehow fourth in the lineup with Rengifo, and Urias not doing great since coming up. But Marte's, struggling. He's at least got 20 RBI, but just 2 home runs. That's surprising. Langoliers is certainly doing okay, and Armenteros just came up, and he's off to a terrible start. Mason Miller picking things up. Definitely doing better from a 6 ERA to under 5. Bryce Wilson is starting to pick things up. He was at about a 6. He's down to a 5. Sears was over 8. It's down to 7. Spence is down to under 5. Povich is struggling and down to number 5 in the rotation. So outside of Povich, the other 4 have all improved in the last couple appearances for each of them. Joe Boyle, who had 0 saves, has 4 now. So yeah, we're definitely seeing signs of improvement. Sean Newcomb has not done well in 9 games with that 10 ERA. Gosh, he's given up 10 runs in 9 innings. He might not last. There are just so many weird problems that we are not used to having of late. 3 batters all right there, neck and neck in batting average. Cool to see. Not many home runs right now. In fact, Rengifo is leading the way with 7 and leading the way in RBI. I'm glad we didn't get him traded. I'm not planning on keeping him next year. I don't think he's going to be worth that kind of value, but maybe he's better as a shortstop. We'll see. Overview of the minor league system so far. AAA at about 500, AA just above. The high A group is struggling. The A group is struggling, but that's because we've flipped so much from players that were in development to better prospects that were in the early days of their development. So you're seeing them having to go through those growing pains. But apparently our A-League rookie is starting to play. They're 3-4. They don't have numbers. I might have to go look at that roster. But Denzel Clark going down injured is absolutely going to hurt things for a little bit. Austin Meadows is, in that day-to-day, but I think he's able to play through it. It'll be nice when we get Crawford back because obviously shortstop's been a weakness for us for a while. But maybe Rengifo moved back over to shortstop is going to be better for him. We're definitely a team that was at least in the mix with Texas there for a little bit, but we are falling way behind the rest of the division at the moment. And now Geloff also going down. He's going to be out for 6 weeks. Bad timing here. This is really bad timing on these injuries. We're missing 3 key players now and a 4th one. That's a bit of a wounded warrior. The obvious call-up, though. The obvious call-up is Nick Allen. 10 games. Definitely doing much better at AAA. Let's give him another chance with that injury. It could be a Max Wagner type situation, but he's not even on my 40-man. For now, we're going to go with Nick Allen and give him another shot. See if he can do better, and that'll help us. I would assume Rengifo is going to move to 3rd. And he does. So Rengifo shifts over to 3rd, where he's 2.5 stars. And that is your infield for now. For our next check-in, we're 50 games into the season at 20-30 now. Way better than where we were. We're up to a 400 win percentage. That was about as good as we got last year at any stage. I'm definitely starting to get more on track. 4-6 in the last 10. We've been playing 400 ball here for a little while, and to drawing closer to being a competitive side here. The Royals and the Rays are worse than us. The Jays have as many wins as we have anyway, so we're definitely not at the bottom, and we're not far off from being a lot more competitive. In the National League, a couple 19-win sides just below us, and then the Mets are at that same. They've got the same number of wins, but couple less losses. Definitely looking more competitive now than we were to start the season. And this is with a number of key injuries that are definitely holding us back a little bit at the moment. A pitching staff that as a whole started the season terribly, but then also a few hitters that started off really slow. And we've really only made the one change besides the injuries thus far. Two changes, actually. Newcomb came in off the DL, and he's not had a good start. Poor start by a lot of individuals within the organization. Started really cold, but have definitely picked it up of late. We'll see if they can continue to improve or at least, stabilize where they're at, even if we don't end up getting to that 70 wins that was predicted in the preseason. I don't care too much about that, but it'd be nice to see some improvement out of the squad. But that is going to do it for this episode. I'm Decathlon Gamer. Like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Have a good one. Be safe out there. Bye for now.